The Thabo Mbeki Foundation African Peace and Security Dialogue is set to wrap up today in Magaliesburg. The three-day gathering has brought together diplomats, security experts, policymakers and other key figures to focus on peace and security on the continent. So former President Thabo Mbeki is expected to address that dialogue a little bit later on today. SABC News reporter Khayelihle Khumalo joins us now live from Magaliesburg. Khaya, thanks indeed for your time this morning. Talk to us a bit more about this dialogue and what we're expected to hear from the former President Thabo Mbeki.
Well, certainly, Criselda, a very critical dialogue, as you know that peace and security, one of the main challenges really impeding Africa's development. So they've been very clear here since Wednesday. So looking at a number of hotspots in Africa, you look at the current situation in the eastern parts of the DRC, you do have some representatives from Congo, albeit we know that the DRC President Felix Tshisekedi turned down the invitation to come through. But really to navigate the significance and really the complexities around peace and security in Africa. We're joined by Dr. Mthembu here from the Institute for Global Dialogue. So, sir, first of all, when we talk about this dialogue, we know of the importance of making sure that there's stability so that we see development. But let's look at the importance of such engagements, Doctor.
No, I think especially at a non-state level, I think the fact that it is led by a non-state actor in the form of the foundation, I think it's important because you have a little bit more wiggle room as a non-state actor in terms of convening the type of actors that you may be wanting to convene. So whether it's stakeholders in the DRC or Mozambique, but also reflections on the Sahel. I think the type of experts, the type of practitioners that the foundation has been able to convene are exactly the type of people you need in the room to have a better understanding of the complexities of these conflicts. So sometimes it's not even a matter of saying this is a formal negotiation, there'll be a key outcome. I think it's about initiating processes where, as a region, we have a better grasp of the challenges that are actually facing us. And by doing that, trying to come up with viable and practical solutions. So very important dialogue.
Well, certainly, Doctor. And we know of instability, one of the critical issues facing the African continent, Doctor. We look at the current situation in Khartoum in Sudan, one of the awful crises right here in the world and right here in our continent as well. Not far from South Africa, Cabo Delgado, the sporadic attacks that we see, as much as SADC deployed SAMIM, its mission in Mozambique, but seemingly there are still some challenges there.
There are challenges, and I think unless the root causes of those challenges are addressed, they will continue to be protracted. So in as much as military interventions are important, but they have to be accompanied by processes that work with the government of the day, so in this case in Mozambique, to build up the capabilities of the state in order to deliver on services in some of those regions that are impacted by the conflict. Because unless you deal with those root causes, you create a vacuum which other non-state actors, and in this case armed groups, will actually fill and seek to even perform some of the core functions of the state. And I think this is what needs to be addressed. So alongside military interventions, you need to really focus on those development initiatives, but also build up the capabilities of the states.
Before we let you go, Doctor, all of this happens, the geopolitical tension unfolding in the world. I mean, we just saw the announcement by the U.S. President Donald Trump that he won't be coming to South Africa for G20. And we know that the U.S. is part of the Troika since it's the incoming chair of G20 taking from South Africa. Instead, his vice president is going to come. Just your reading on that.
Well, I think the fact that it is the vice president that's coming, I mean, it's a senior official. I think the U.S. could have even chosen a more junior person. But the reality is that they are taking on the G20 presidency next year. So I think the administration had to send someone senior. President Trump had already alluded to the fact that he may not be coming. So I think it brings, finality to this matter. We know who will be represented. We know the structure of the Troika will continue, and South Africa will continue to be part of that Troika. So you can have a relatively smooth handover from South Africa to the US, despite the fact that President Trump will not be coming.
All right, Dr. Mthembu, thank you so much indeed for that insight. Criselda, really just taking us through to the importance of this gathering, but also looking at other challenges facing the African continent. When you look at the Horn of Africa, there are challenges around extremism, terrorism, very big issues. But also when you go to the Sahel as well, you do have the issue of the unconstitutional change of government. So some of the very big issues, but during the course of the day, Criselda, we're going to hear from former President Mbeki, someone who's really passionate about Africa. We know of his peace mediation, so many missions he led, whether you're talking about the situation in Cote d'Ivoire back in the days and many other areas as well.